Hi guys, this is Braye. I'm an artist and musician from Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and I'm here with Bill on Friends Unfiltered. We're going to be talking about my latest project, I Wish I Had More Time, and just the process of music and, making art and the mindset behind everything. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
stick around.
So stick around.
All right. So, welcome back to Friends Unfiltered, and we're going to get right into it. So, tell me about I Wish I Had More Time.
The song or the project.
Let's start with the project.
Okay. So yeah, we I was in Accra in 2024, beginning of 2024, with the producers Duke,
Mm-hmm.
two white guys who've come in from London, and I had some songs that I'd written on my guitar, and one of them on my keyboard. So I played it for them, and they was like, "Oh, let's make these songs," and then we started making them. So we turned our dining. We rented an apartment together,
Mm-hmm.
and we turned our dining into a studio. So we had a drum set, we had keys, we had bass, we had guitar, and we had percussion.
Yeah,
So we just made all the stuff in that dining room.
that is actually really raw and
Yeah, we recorded there. We recorded the instruments there, the drums,
mm-hmm.
everything in that dining. So that's it just unites the whole project because everything has the same kind of tone and feel because we made it. We made it in about 2 weeks. We made like 6 songs in like two
Stop.
weeks. Yeah. We made one song in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeping Out of Time we made in the first week, but we couldn't work on more songs because we had so much other stuff to do.
Yeah,
And then the next week we made 5 songs.
5 songs. Do you think it was because you had an understanding of the chemistry that you wanted the project to kind of have?
Yeah.
Or have you worked with Duke before?
We met first in 2023
Okay.
January, and then they came to Lagos around the middle of 2023, and then from then on we just became like buddies, and
Yeah.
we just talk about music, talk about personal life and all that stuff.
So I Wish I Had More Time was named after a song.
Yeah,
Why that song?
yeah. So I wish I had more time. Was actually so that same year, 2024. I was There's this producer Michael Brown.
Mm-hmm.
We met somewhere. We played chess. Our first interaction was playing. We played chess, and then the next day we met at the studio, and he's just taking a break from a session that he was in,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Oh, what do you do? You make music? Oh, show me. Have you made a song?" Then I didn't have a song out,
Yeah.
but I'd recorded bossa nova.
Oh, before
So
Painless Melody.
yeah,
That's interesting.
so yeah, bossa nova is actually been recorded before Painless Melody. So I played it for him, and it's like, wow, this is sick. Let's come with me. Let's go into the studio. And then in like 3 to 5 minutes, we made the bounce and the basic idea for I Wish I Had More Time. And then I took it to Duke, and then they completed the whole production.
Mm,
And then we just went from there.
that's really interesting.
So
So Stock is the first track.
yeah.
Why was that the intro?
Um, yeah, because the first statement in stock
Mm,
it speaks to me all the time, and I feel like it's the story of everyone. So it kind of like introduces the project because the project, most parts of the project is based on self belief, lack
yeah.
of self belief, and fear and desire and human connection and loneliness,
Yeah.
those themes. So I feel like stock just also encapsulates it in that way. I wish I had more time too. As
So that
you
there's a
know,
flow.
yeah.
So how did
So
you get into storytelling?
I
Because I think
think,
that's something that stands out in your music.
yeah,
Your lyrics are they flow.
yeah,
You can tell that it's it's a song in its essence of it, right?
yeah.
So how did you get into
Yeah,
storytelling?
I compare making music to writing stories, like writing fiction.
Okay.
So if you're going to write a story, a fiction book, you have chapters, you have a story, the narrative.
Synopsis.
Yeah, you have the narrative of what you want to say, what it symbolizes, and all that. You have it in your head, and then you write the story, and then the structure, if it's person or second person
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And yeah, so I compare. So if I'm going to write a song, so I always say these things like music is not about lyrics.
Mm.
Music is sound, right? That's the most important thing. The sound, the rhythm, the character, the rhythm and the melody and the emotion of it. And then if you are going to write words to it, then it has to fit. It has to be, if you have to write words to a song, it has to have some essence
So the
and
rhythm
mean something.
controls the lyrics, not the other way around.
Uh, I mean, they're like different elements,
Okay.
but the most important thing is the rhythm and the emotion and the melodies, because music is sound again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the rhythm is more like the character
Or the
of the
story.
song.
Mm-hmm.
So if a rhythm of a song is going it's fast, it's loud, that's the
Oh.
character.
Yes.
And then there's the one that will go a little bit like bouncy, like slow. That's another character, and it communicates with us
Yeah.
in a different way. We feel the connection to the music in that way.
So speaking of storytelling, I know that you read a lot. And something interesting that I found that you do is when you find words that you haven't heard before, you write them down.
Oh,
You write them down and you actually go to look for the meaning of those words.
yeah,
It's something that my mom tried to imbibe in me growing up, but it just never clicked, right? So I still do it sometimes. Like when I read novels, I recently just got back to reading
yeah.
late last year, especially fiction, because I write as well. So when I see words in my head, I'm like, I want to write this down so I can come back to it. But it's like, oh, we'll come back to it another time, and then I just never end up doing. But you actually have like notes. I think I saw
Yeah.
like you had like different papers, and you carry those papers around.
Yeah,
You have a dictionary.
yeah.
Like that's how did that?
I was so at some point I was so obsessed with the idea of, let me not say obsessed, but I was passionate
Mm-hmm.
about writing fiction. So I after I got rejected by Bookcraft the last time I sent them something, I I felt like, what, I need to improve. I need to, get better at it, because and then I was also asking myself that, what's the importance of writing fiction? What's the importance of writing stories? Is this just a storybook, or it's something that's valuable, really valuable to my life or to life? And then I kept asking that question for a long time, and I found that stories are like really the most valuable thing that we have. That's our identity.
Yeah.
That's how we know who we are. The things that we've been through, the experiences
That
we
we
have.
retain and transfer culture too.
Exactly. It's through stories. So then I decided that I was going to spend my life writing stories. So I read. So where I get those words is like, I read those fiction books and I find words. Most of the books I read on my laptop. So I have a dictionary on my laptop. I have two dictionaries on my laptop. If I don't find the word on this one,
Go to the
I
note.
use the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I save the words and I do this thing that I call vocabulary exercise.
Mm.
So I wake up in the morning and I go through the list every day. And then there was a time when I was like, this is not enough. I need to write those words down and also test myself, because on my dictionary, I can see the meanings. But then on my notes, I don't see the meaning. So I have to see the word and remember the
The
meaning.
meaning.
So when I go for, like, if I'm going on an errand, I'll take one of those papers, and in a taxi I'll look and remember the words and put them back in my pocket when I'm busy. So it was just
That's like a language hack, by the way.
it was just something I did. Like, yeah, it helps, and it helps with writing.
It shows in your music, right? Because building your vocabulary again also helps with how you can tell stories.
Exactly.
There's sometimes that you want to express something and you're trying to look for the words, or you're
Yeah.
using so many words when there's actually just one word. one word that
Yeah.
encapsulates everything that you're trying to say. So that's a pretty
Yeah. I
beautiful
mean,
thing.
I feel like because we're communicating, right? At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're making art, you're still communicating with people. So you have to like spend your time to develop the faculty
Yeah.
to do it. So it was just like it's something I wanted to do. Really, I was passionate about. I mean, you need to do work, of
Yeah.
course, but then if you know the value of what you're doing, nothing's going to stop you, basically.
Okay.
So
So tell me about your process for I wish I had more time. The project
yeah,
itself. How was that like? Like you said, you came up with one song
yeah,
in 1 week and 5. So
yeah.
what's your process?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why it was that fast too, to be honest, because for me, like with music, I can make 5 songs in a day,
Mm-hmm.
but the quality of those songs, that's what matters. If
Yeah.
I get a good song, one good song in a month, I'm happy than making 100 songs in, because anytime you play an instrumental, you can freestyle and you can get good melodies, great melodies, but it's different from making a song. Lyric wise, arrangement wise, everything that a song needs to tell a story and have a feel
Mm-hmm.
and have a real narrative to it. So the reason why it was fast for us to do all that work in 2 weeks was because I'd written most of the songs before I got there. So let me say in that camp, that our small private camp, I wrote Painless Melody and I wrote I Wish I Had More Time. That those songs I wrote right there. I didn't come with the songs. I wrote them right there. And then for Stock, Sleeping Out of Time, Bring You Home, I had I had the whole of Stock. No. I had most of Stock. The slow part
Yeah.
before the reggae part. I wrote the reggae part there in
Mm.
Ghana. And then for Sleeping Out of Time, I'd written the whole thing like in 2022 when I was staying at my sister's in
So you've
Abuja.
been kind of hoarding these gems
Yeah.
from us for a while.
I mean, I didn't have the chance to make them
Mm.
until then. So that was it. In fact, for Sleeping Out of Time, it's a special song because when I came to Lagos, the first night I came to Lagos, because I took a bus from Abuja, I was staying with my sister for like 7 months. I left Port Harcourt. I was like, let me just go to Abuja and see what I can I can do or what I can
Yeah.
find. So I was staying in my sister's room, and I would like read, play music, and then it was around the time I wrote Stock and Sleeping Out of Time and many other songs that no one might, most people might never hear.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I left there. I came to Lagos around August in that year, and I I I met a guy. There was this guy. My friend came and took me from the park and took
Mm-hmm.
me to a place for me to sleep for the night
Yeah.
because I didn't have anywhere in Lagos. I was basically coming to Lagos and coming to like find my way.
Yeah.
So he took me there, and I was going to sleep there for a night somewhere in Agege. And the guy was like, "Oh, so Joshua told me that you play music. So play me a song." I had my 2 guitars with me with my guitar amp, and I took out my electric guitar. I mean, I just started playing electric guitar about a few months before then, and I plugged it in and I was playing. The guy was like, "You don't even know how to play." so so I was like, okay, wait, let me play you a song. So I take my acoustic guitar and I play him Sleeping Out of Time, and it was like, wow, bro, that song is so good. That song is going to take you places. And I was like, well, cool, thank you so much.
Mm.
And I play Stock.
Changed his mind in a second from I don't know. You don't know how to play too. That's it.
I
That's a
started
timeless
very
song.
shakily. I mean, I was so like shy, and it's crazy. So yeah,
I still think you're shy, by the way, but gradually
I mean,
you're being pushed out of your comfort zone.
yeah, I
And
mean, most of the time, I used to tell Larry, my manager, that if not for you guys, I would just be in my room doing my thing all the
making
time.
music for
Yeah,
yourself.
and I'm not going anywhere now. But yeah,
You
so
mentioned reggae, and I know your sound has a lot of reggae and jazz. Clearly, I can tell that Bob Marley is an influence.
Yeah.
But I want to know the other influences in your music, in your sound.
Oh, there's so many. But Bob Marley is like a because I feel like everyone gets what he was about,
Mm.
and he stood. He had conviction in his work, and his beliefs about the world, and how what he thought of himself and what he thought of the world, and that's the big take from him. Not even really the sound. Yeah, the sound fine, and I listen a lot to his songs, and I know how to sing a lot of his songs, but it's just that conviction
Mm.
because to really make art and to really make a statement that you have to say something that you really believe because you can't pretend to believe something
Mm-hmm.
and call yourself a man of your word.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the conviction, but there's other people that also were influences for me in the same way, like Ray Charles, Amy
I
Winehouse,
was waiting for that
Sam
one.
Cooke. um, I loved Sammy Davis. At some point, I was listening to Frank Sinatra a lot. Otis Redding, um, you know, Etta James, Aretha Franklin. I was listening also to modern artists,
Yeah.
but I was mostly listening to the oldies. I really love Anderson Paak,
Mm.
like Mac Miller, Chronix.
So all these artists here, these are quality musicians.
Yeah,
Who do you give credit to for building your musical taste?
I think it's a crowd effort.
Crowd effort, community effort. It took a
Yes,
village.
yeah, it takes a village to raise a kid. Yeah, where they say that. But yeah, I listen to a lot. Even now, I listen to like a lot of instrumental music,
Mm.
like Lee Morgan, Hugh Masekela. He plays trumpet. They both play trumpet. Um, love sax, guitar, even piano. Last
How
year,
many instruments can you play? I'm curious.
yeah, I mean, I play bass, guitar, keys, trumpet, and I have percussion also, but
Mm.
I don't touch it as often as I play the other ones. But for me, the way I see music is like you're evolving and you're interested in something, and it's just I listen to instrumental music and I'm like, oh, I love that song, and I
Mm.
go and try to play it on my bass guitar. I go and try to play it on my piano. So it's not like I'm going at these instruments like trying to be like, virtuoso at everything. But I'm interested in exploring music in that way and seeing what I would make if
Mm-hmm.
I were in the position that I expect producers to be for me.
Yeah.
So you never know what you find because it's like where you're thinking, where you're being inspired from is not the same as other people.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
what you make would most likely be different from what they would make, and that's just what I want to hear. That's just
Mm.
what I want to experience and see for myself, rather than just making music.
Mm.
It feels more interesting if I'm doing it that way.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. You wish you had more time.
I wish I had more time,
Why is
but
that?
I only have 24 hours, like everyone else, which
Mm-hmm.
is fair. So I'll do what I can with my 24 hours.
I see that you go to Ghana a lot. What is it about Ghana that draws you back?
Oh shit. Um, I love Ghana. I schooled there actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I schooled there. I went to Regent University.
Mm.
Yeah.
Shout out to Regent University.
Shout out Regent University. I studied instrumentation engineering.
Mm.
Yeah, but when I tell people this, they think that it has a lot to do with music, but it doesn't. It doesn't have a lot to do with music. I mean, it still involves signal processing and all
Yeah.
this stuff, but it mostly like involves, you know, designing and maintaining machines and
Mm.
using like physical parameters to control like machines and stuff,
Mm.
like programming microcontrollers and all this thing, which was very interesting to me, honestly. I still have ideas on stuff, projects that I want to build now. So I liked it, but music was the thing I knew how to do best.
Mm.
So yeah, I stayed in Ghana from age So I went to Ghana first when I was 15.
Okay.
I started university when I was 15. So I was just small, nobody wanted to.
I wish I had your
I,
time. 'Cause I started university at 18.
damn. I mean, that's also
I wish I had more
that's also
time.
that's also kind of okay. That's okay.
I mean, it's
That's
fine.
good.
It's fine.
That's good.
But like, 15 is
Young.
yeah. I'm like
Yeah.
in a new space,
Yeah, and then I
right?
had to move from Port Harcourt to Lagos to Ghana by
Mm,
myself, like carrying my bags and stuff. This is like 11 years ago.
that's insane. Did you have family in Ghana?
No.
So just the way that you found your way in Lagos, you found your way in Ghana as
Yeah.
well. Huh.
I mean, I remember when I was, just before I went, my dad's family, they were kind of asking, this boy is not too small to
Of
go
course,
to
like
Ghana by
yeah.
himself. But my dad was like, my dad just believed in me. He was like, he'll be fine. He'll do it.
Mm.
And then I went and I stayed for 4 months for the first semester, and it was good. I had a friend in Ghana already that was helping me with my admission stuff. So when I went there, he just helped me pay my fees and like
Transition.
yeah, just and once after like a week, I was good. I was living by myself, going to class by myself, coming
Mm.
back, But I was always alone. Like
Yeah.
when you're 15, most people there, they don't really relate to the same issues that you have as a 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of like challenges you to think more mature, to
Yeah.
come up in your level and your independence for yourself. So when I was there, I made friends, but not a lot of friends. Most of the time I spent alone listening to music. Before then, I was already writing music.
Yeah.
So I just continued doing it. And then I'd go to places and people find out that, oh, this guy can actually rap.
I was. Oh my
So,
god! It's like you read my mind. But go on about the
so
rapping. That's my
I,
next question.
I used to rap a lot. Like that's what I did mostly, and I still do it, and I still want to use rap because I feel like is an element itself in music that you can use to tell stories
Yeah.
and make arrangements of music more interesting. So I still rap in closets.
When are we going to get? So that was the question, right? It's literally right here in my notes. When are we going to get more of Braye, the rapper?
I don't know
Because I've heard you rap.
where
Don't worry about that. Well, I've heard you rap,
where did you hear me rap?
and I will share my source after. It's not for
Okay.
them to know.
Okay.
But, and still again, the lyrics, the words, like you can just tell that this is someone that understands the language, not just of music, but also of literal English, right?
Yeah.
So it's something I think you should explore more.
Yeah, of course. Like I want to do when I make my album, my first album, I would do a lot of like not like explore music. I believe in having a structure and a narrative. That's what reading fiction teaches you. It's
Yeah.
like you don't just come to show I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. No. There's many people that can do all these things, but to bring it all into a narrative and a structure and a purpose and a vision and make a full body of work that means something,
Mm-hmm.
that can mean something to people and can just take you through.
Like that's the essence of storytelling. I told you earlier
Yeah.
that I was at a writing workshop and it was on structure, right?
Yeah.
Because especially when you're self-taught, there are a lot of things that you would not understand that are technical, that are as important as the talent itself.
Yeah.
So when I write, I just write. I just tell the story. But that workshop just brought to my attention how to properly structure stories in a way
Yeah.
that readers can follow.
Yeah.
And that's what lags in a lot of stories. I'm not going to call the wood,
Yeah.
but there's wood that lacks
Yeah.
that build up, that structure. So you have things like an inciting incident that tells the rest of the story.
Yeah.
You have the first attempt of the protagonist, the second attempt,
Yeah.
and these things are normally elements that you would expect to see in a story, but if they don't follow that certain timeline, it can get
Yeah.
so confusing,
Yeah.
and like you're just back and forth. Like we
Yeah.
understand the plots, but there's no structure.
Yeah.
So
That's yeah. It's actually structure is like you can't even say how important is so important because it carries like it's like the skeleton. It carries
the body,
yeah. It carries the flesh
and I
of
think
the
that's why I understand that artists have eras. It also still boils down to structure.
yeah.
So what they call eras is actually them structuring their sound. So
Yeah.
there's this era in
Yeah.
their music when they're on this,
Yeah.
and then they move to tell another story in another era, and they just keep going on from
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah, I mean, so I always, like I said, I always compare making music with making literary work
mm-hmm.
because literary work has essence, and you want to you want to have essence in your work because then people can always tap into and connect to that,
Mm.
you know. So yeah,
Yeah. Tell me about Mars. I
well,
mean, we wouldn't have met
without
without Mars.
yeah, I mean. I was so it was through Budge, you know Budge,
Yeah.
right? It was through Budge so I was in Abuja and then I made a video. So I made this rap song and
Again, rap.
this rap
I
singing.
hope you're taking notes of these signs.
It was I actually sang in that song too because I rapped and then I started singing. And then I posted it. And then my younger brother posted it on his story and tagged Budge. And
Mm.
Budge saw it. And Budge reached out to me
Mm.
that he likes my stuff and then he wants to manage me. He's interested in managing me and stuff. And yeah, from then on, he came to Abuja. And then he told me before that he was coming to Abuja. And I was like, okay, when he gets in. So when he came in, I didn't really reach out to him because I didn't want to rush or da 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 da. I wanted him to tell me, oh, I'm in Abuja and
Yeah.
stuff. But I waited and waited and waited and he didn't call. And at some point, I was like, let me just call him. And he was like, oh, bro, sorry, I forgot to reach out to you.
Follow up. If you're listening to this, follow up. It's very important that you follow up.
I swear. And when I reached out to him, he was like, bro, I'm already going back to Lagos, but they've delayed my flight for like 1 hour. So you can actually come and meet me now in my hotel.
Mm.
So I took a car and I went there. And we had about like 30 minutes also to like talk and just chill. And that was from there my connection with Bosch started.
Yeah.
And that kind of encouraged me to come to Lagos. So it was after my encounter with Bosch that I decided that I was going to come to Lagos. And then I came to Lagos.
Mm.
And from there, like after like 2 months, then Budge called me again, and then we met with Larry, and then from then on, after meeting Larry for the first time, after like a week, we started working together,
Mm.
and that was 2022,
Mm.
2022 November around then, yeah. So this November I'll make it 3 years
Oh.
since I met Larry. It feels like ages ago now.
Mm.
Because we've like gone through like different phases and done different things. Dropped my first single, traveled to Ghana a couple of times, recording those works, But yeah, we're here now.
Yeah. I just
So
love Mars.
yeah,
Like,
there's other people. There's other people that's part of Mars.
mm-hmm.
They have other artists also.
Yeah.
So yeah, we.
You said you write a lot of songs I would never get to hear, but there's a particular song that I was kind of expecting it to be part of this project, and that is Secret Lover.
How do you know about?
Don't worry, I've done my homework. I felt like Secret Lover needed to be a part of this project because it just suited.
Yeah, it had the guitar.
Yes.
Yeah, I played on my
So
guitar.
you agree on that
Yeah.
front, right? So
I feel like the right time will come for some of these songs because like Sleeping Out of Time I didn't even used to play Sleeping Out of Time to people. I I was so familiar with the song that I thought that this is just one of my best songs before,
Yeah.
and now I'm moving on to make other new stuff. But then I played it for them, and it turned out to be like, oh wow, is that really your song? Let's make that song, and then
Mm.
we made the song, and everyone ended up liking it. And my dad, including my dad. My dad loves sleeping out of that. Like this song and this song. Every time he tells me
Mm.
this song is a great song.
Okay. Another song I look forward to you releasing is Why Do You Do That? But again, don't worry about how I got all this information. It's probably somebody at Mars
I
that
think
is
I think
spilling all your
I think
tea.
I think I know where you found it.
Okay, so I wanted to ask on dream collabs.
Oh,
I mean, your this EP is you didn't have any features, and I believe for your debut, you shouldn't have features. That's my opinion, anyways.
okay.
So, but what are your dream collabs right now?
Hmm, that's very interesting. I think most people would not know some of them
And that's fine.
because some of them are basically instrumentalists.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love Victor Wooten. He
Mm-hmm.
plays bass, and there's this guitarist. I'll say I forgot. I saw his post this morning. Forgot his name, but then most of them are instrumentalists. But also with artists like singers and stuff, I really like the idea of working with someone like Anderson Park,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean Mac Miller is late. It would have been so great to work with Mac Miller.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I feel like Mac Miller is like a
The
dream
dream
collab.
collab.
Like that have been sick. Um, I also love Chronix. I love Chronix music.
Mm-hmm.
It's someone that if I if I had the chance to make a song with him, it would be so crazy. And yeah, there's probably many others.
Yeah.
For me, like I feel like every time you work with someone, you go into the studio with someone, and you make music with them, you have the opportunity to create something new and fresh,
Yeah.
and that's what is the most exciting thing about it. So it doesn't matter who the person is, if it's a seasoned producer or a a big A class artist or what, or someone who's literally unknown. Doesn't matter. You always have the opportunity to make something fresh and interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just the exciting thing about making music
Yeah.
with people.
Mm. Your style. Again, I believe Bob Marley has a huge influence on your style. What do you have to say to that?
I mean, like I said, it's just
What about
I
Bob Marley?
I love his music. Obviously
Yeah.
I do. And the most thing I love about like his style and his music and his aura
Mm-hmm.
is just that conviction
Yeah.
that he has for music and for what he does.
When I say style, by the way, I mean fashion.
Oh, I mean, for me, I don't, I don't think consciously that I don't
I don't
really
think it's
think,
conscious either.
yeah, I don't see consciously and think, oh, this is how I want to look. Or da, 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 da. Most of the time, I just go in and pick stuff. When I'm working with a stylist too, I just like the picture of what I want to wear. It just kind of like
In your
comes in my
head.
head, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm like, oh, what if we do this and we do this? And he has his own ideas also, and then we can come up with something.
Mm.
So, yeah, it's most of the times it's like that.
Mm.
But I don't really consciously like.
I know it's not conscious. I just wanted to point it out. Like I just see that there's definitely the hint of Bob Marley in your
Yeah,
style here.
people do say that a lot. To be honest.
Mm. I mean, when someone inspires you in that magnitude,
Yeah,
is bound to happen unconsciously. That you imitate,
yeah,
right? So it's a form of expression as well. So,
yeah. I mean, we we basically just absorb from people throughout our lives, even how we speak, the
mhm.
language that we speak, the fact that we speak English now. 200 years ago, the people that lived here probably don't know
Or
a
speaking
word of
English.
English. So it was just as human beings, we always like just connect with each other and absorb and learn each other's stories and cultures and mix up.
Mm.
And it's a human thing.
Yeah. Do you speak any other language other than English?
Um,
It doesn't have to be
no,
fluent. No.
it's not. I'm not fluent in. I mean, I'm learning French and
Mm.
Portuguese
Okay.
because I like bossa nova.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I
but
picked.
then for my local language, I can hear some, but I hardly ever speak, and sometimes I respond like the ones that are basic.
Yeah.
But we weren't really raised to speak the
The
language.
language. Yeah. Right.
But I
Same.
mean, I always say that if I had, because I've moved from PH now, if I was still in PH, I would certainly have gotten someone to be teaching me. And as I'm in Lagos, I could have, but finding those people is more difficult in
Yeah.
Lagos than in PH. In PH, there's like Bielsa people, people that can speak Ijo almost everywhere. You can
Mm-hmm.
just find some. Even in my house, we can just like I can just be speaking Ijo with the people in my house most of the time,
Mm.
and I'll just get it. And where I've gotten the few things I can understand is by like listening to them speak and speaking with them. So I really want to learn the language because even in music, it's something I want to use. And because like I mean, your language, this is what your ancestors
Yeah.
spoke
Yeah.
when they were there, and you came out of them.
Mm.
So there's no way you can say that it doesn't have a deep connection with you. The place of your roots, if you go there, the only way you can really communicate with those people there is by speaking that language. So it's compulsory for you to learn it. That's how I think about it. So
Mm.
I I I would I would speak my local language even if I have to learn it while being like a 27-year-old. So
Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be so much harder now.
yeah, it'd be harder now, but I don't think anything's hard. It just depends on how much you want
Yeah, how
to
much
do
you
it.
want it. Okay. You dropped Painless Melody. Was that October?
Yeah,
October of last year.
yeah,
And you posted the lyrics a month before, even though I'm sure nobody knew what that was when they saw it in your
yeah,
posts. And you had your Spotify Wrapped a few months later.
yeah,
And that was quite impressive, just that short
yeah.
frame of time. So what are you excited about looking to this next Spotify Wrapped? I mean, now that you have
Wow. I mean,
this extra
obviously
project
I
out,
feel like this one will be more like there'll be more numbers, more hours and stuff.
more countries.
Yeah, it'll be more, you know. But yeah, that's how it is. You
Mm.
know, you do like I always say this thing. There was a time when I just wished to have a room to myself that I can just take a space and make my studio
Mm-hmm.
and where I can just do music in
Yeah.
that part of the room, just a room. But now I have a whole apartment. I have a studio in my apartment. I have my bedroom. I have my living room. I have
Mm-hmm.
my kitchen. I have different parts. And I'm still looking forward to more,
Mm.
having more. So I just try to be calm. And I mean, I'm excited
Yeah, of course,
about,
as
of
you
course, I
should.
am. But I know that this is just the beginning all the time. It's the
Mm.
beginning every time. Even in 10 years,
Yeah.
I'll be some point and it still be a beginning of something else.
Yeah, and in 10 years, we'll be back here to have a rerun
I mean,
and like
I'm not,
catch up on.
I'm absolutely not against that.
And again, still on that post on Spotify Wrapped, you said 2024 was a great year,
Yeah.
and next year will be more gargantuan.
Gargantuan.
Yes, that was the word you used, and again, I'll keep bringing it up on how it's pretty cool, maybe a little nerdy, on how you get words and just because you don't speak like the average Nigerian. Like if someone has lengthy conversations with you, their words are like when we're speaking and you say patwa, like if I don't read,
Yeah.
it's not a word that a lot of people know, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just something very interesting. So I did ask the Unfiltered community to send in some questions, a lot of which through the course of this conversation you have already answered. So I'm just going to see if there are any. Okay, someone asked, would you move to Ghana full time if you had the chance?
If I had the chance, you know what? I would have a place in Ghana, a
Mm.
permanent residence in Ghana if I had the chance. I would. But I don't know for now if I would move there permanently. But
Mm.
I love to go back to Ghana. I have friends there. I have people there who are so nice and welcoming to me and
Yeah.
so warm to me. So and I just like to walk the roads and
In Ghana.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and meet the people. Like is anytime I go to Ghana, I always have a good time.
Well, I think that's the only question that I feel flows in this conversation. Some
Yeah.
questions are quite, crazy, but maybe I'll ask you that off off camera. Your first live performance was in 2023, right? And I want to know how you felt yesterday, just like with that time. It's about 2 years now. So how has live performances evolved for you?
Well, I mean, you the first time the first time I sang in front of people in Lagos is probably like the third time I've sang in front of people ever in my life,
Oh,
like outside. So I was shaking, I was, nervous as hell. And yeah, from then till now, at some point there was a performance I had. I think that was the one I was wearing the yellow shirt.
mm-hmm.
That one I was there. I was nervous. I was like, you know what? Just f all these people and do it like you do in the
In your
room.
room, yeah.
Like, why should you care so
Mm-hmm.
much? Like, have a good time. If you have a good time, they'll have a good time too. So after I had that performance, after my experience of that performance, I just took that on further with the next few performances that I did. And it's just been that way ever since. When I get on stage, I just like go because like I'm beginning to learn about it more from experience. That is, you shouldn't be thinking when you're there.
Mm.
It should flow out of you, and to get to that point where it flows out of you, it takes some work and it takes some conscious like you,
Effort.
yeah, working and getting yourself to that point. But when you get on the stage, there's no time for you to now start learning how to. Yeah, it's just for you to flow, and there's people there that want to join you along with join along with you in the experience,
Yeah.
and you have to take them with you. And
There's something that a pastor that I'm very well acquainted to say is that your first experience of something cannot be on stage, right? You have to have your training ground, your training
yeah,
time, the things that you do in private.
yeah,
And like you said, that makes a lot of sense
yeah,
because it's not your you can't come to stage and have your first performance, right? You must have been performing for yourself
yeah,
in your private time and rehearsing in front of a camera. Do
yeah.
you understand? So
That's what I call inside work. That's
exactly
what,
inside work,
yeah, that's
and
what,
people don't get to see that part.
yeah, that's what for me. That's what matters more most because outside work or promoting yourself, posting and great. But inside work was like is what forms you. It what forms who you are, what your purpose is, you know. So I feel like that's more important
Mm,
inside work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, one more request. Someone has asked that you sing "Happy Birthday."
No,
Happy birthday!
my voice is in a great, great
Don't worry, we
place
all
to
know that
sing.
you performed yesterday. Whatever comes out of you, if this is your first impression of Braye, you need to stop watching right now. Go to Spotify, stream his music, and come back. But let's have something.
Sing what?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to him.
The name. Hmm. So it's anonymous, right? So they don't say their
Okay.
name. So
So that's just sing.
just sing
Happy,
happy birthday to her.
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
All right. So you asked and you've got it. So Unfiltered
Yeah.
Takes, link in bio. If you have questions, ask your questions. If you have dilemmas, share. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Braye the Badger. Twitter, Braye the Badger. Um, what else?
Is there
Snapchat.
TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok, Braye the Badger
Okay.
too. Um,
Of
yeah, I
course, on
think
all streaming
mostly on those
platforms.
three. Yeah, if you just search Braye the Badger,
Why Badger?
why the Badger?
Why the Badger?
Yeah, because when I found out about the animal,
The ones that dig?
yeah, they do a bunch of stuff.
Well, I mean, that's why I know Badgers for
They
digging.
no, they don't just they love honey.
Okay.
They are smart. They problem solvers. They are
Mm,
one man band.
literally one man band.
I feel like that's what I found in them that was more relatable to me.
Mm,
They didn't go in a pack,
mm,
and I feel like my early days in Accra when I was 15, because you don't find a lot of 15-year-olds in university at that time. So I was always just kind of like on my own.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't have a pack. I didn't follow anybody. I was more like a one man mopole
Mm-hmm.
or a rebel. So I just found that like
Interesting about them.
about them and also for myself. And another thing about honey badgers is that they solve problems in their own way.
Mm,
Like they want to do this and everybody does it this way, but
they find their
they
way.
just find their way about it. So I feel like that's kind of like my style.
That's fine. So thank you for listening to this point. We have come to the end of this episode. Do sure to stream. I wish I had more time on Braye on all platforms now. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, do all the good stuff. Share, put somebody on Braye on this podcast. And I will see you in the next episode. Do you have any last thing to say to?
Well, I just want to wish everyone good luck, and you whatever you believe in, that you really believe in.
Mm,
Yeah, to be strong in that and pursue your vision for
mm,
yourself and for your life. So, yeah, I wish you good luck. That's what
yeah.
I'll say.
So good luck, Charlie. Thank you, and we're out.